The Bookshelf Limbo is the newest short game released by Deconstrcuteam. Deconstrcuteam is a Spanish video game developer based in Valencia, founded in March 2012 by Jordi de Paco, and it is best known for developing Gods Will Be Watching and the Red Strings Glove, two of their most famous projects to this date. The Bookshelf Limbo is about a person trying to get a comic for their father as a present for their birthday. The whole game is about browsing the bookstore and nothing else. Very short, 20 minutes tops if you try to read everything and really inspect every single comic. There's a handful of them, each one with a different description and with a different art cover, and you can read the quotes on the back of the book, and you can also consult the online reviews before picking one. Now, it sounds fairly simple, it sounds fairly normal, and I suppose to some people this may sound boring, but I'm gonna tell you why I think this is an interesting concept and why I think this is a good thing, a good short game, despite, well, being a short game. One thing Deconstructive does really well, in my opinion, is take a simple concept, a simple idea, and then veiled good dialogue or interesting dialogue around that idea. For example, some other games like Eternal Home Floristry, Behind Every Great One, and 1145 A Vivid Life, which I cover on my channel, by the way, if you want to take a look at that, are very simple concepts but explore many things, feelings, trauma, experiences, etc. in, like I said, a short amount of time. Okay, let's talk about the Bookshelf Limbo. One thing I like is that the game does not give you a lot of information, and it leaves a lot of things up for interpretation, but it gives you bits and pieces of information so you can make, I suppose, a story. You can make what's going on. For example, what I picked up is that their dad has a troubled past that he may not want to revisit. Maybe the mother's not in the picture. We don't know why. We don't get that answer, I guess. But like I said, this is up for interpretation, but that's one of the things I picked up. I don't know if many of you did, if you've played this game, but I feel like the relationship is kind of broken, or at least mangled, between the character and their father. And I can understand that it may be hard to reconnect with him. For example, picking a gift for your father, a comic for your father should be easy, but in this particular case, it's not. It's called the Bookshelf Limbo for a reason. And in this case, it's hard, and it shouldn't be hard, but in this case, it's hard, which I think alludes to the broken relationship that they may have. There are things about the character that the father may not like. For example, the character's sexuality, their gender identity. For example, some of the things they like. For example, tarot, or political and social ideas like feminism. And those things make reconnecting with their father hard. The character seems afraid of being judged. The character doesn't really want to get into social and political themes, doesn't really want to talk about sexuality, polyamorous relationships, and simply things the character likes. It also feels like both have moved on from their past. They had a troubled past, and I think the father just moved on, and probably the character has also moved on as well. It may have been a long time ago when the character was a kid or something like that, but both feel like have moved on and don't really want to dig deep into that. And at the very end, when you pick a book, there's a scene, there's a portion where the person asks if you want to put a sticker in the book, and it doesn't matter which sticker you pick, the character will say like no sticker, because the character is so insecure of even picking a sticker. The character is not even sure if the father's gonna like the gift. So it's a very, like I said, up for interpretation, but with all of this we can make that the relationship is a bit broken, a bit mangled, and they're simply trying to reconnect, and how hard it is to reconnect with people, especially when they have been so distant. And I can relate a bit to that, and I understand about those obstacles, because not everyone will want to hear about, for example, feminism or gender issues. And let's flip things around. The character may not want to hear about religion or, for example, political debates. It's a hard thing. They're different even if the game doesn't tell us that directly. One thing I want to mention is that I really like the character design, this kind of animal. I think it's really cool. It's simple, but I think it tells us a bit about the character. You know, for example, the backpack, maybe we can make that the character is in university, or maybe the character comes from work. Yeah, but I think what I make of the character is that probably is a young person. I also enjoyed reading the online reviews, because those are things that actual people say, and sometimes it can be like funny or encouraging, and sometimes it can be mind-blowing. how someone could say something like that, and it was a nice touch. Long story short, the game is about struggle to reconnect with someone, especially if that someone is your father, and struggle to find something. I think a bit insecurity as well, and I guess being distant with someone, especially if that someone is part of your family, I think that shapes you a bit as a person. Not directly, but I think it shapes you just a little bit. For example, in my situation, I don't really get along with any of my family other than, for example, my mom, and just, well, my dad, I guess, but there's some big things going on there. But mostly my mom, maybe an aunt, but I don't really get along with anyone else, and that's just, I guess, weird. The normal thing is that you get along with everyone, and I guess it didn't shape me directly, but it plays a role. I distrust people, and I don't really like talking to them because they're not going to understand me. They're not going to even try to understand me, and it's the same thing. It's like a bit of a struggle to reconnect with them, because I can't sit down and watch a game of football and suddenly start talking about football or pretending I care, nor they can ask me about my career and the things I do and pretend they care. So it's a bit of a weird thing. So I guess that's why it works, especially if you relate to the themes they're talking about. That's why it works. And you may be thinking, what makes a 20-minute short game special? I think 3 things: the music, the dialogue, and the visuals. The visuals are simple yet so pretty to look at, which is mostly the case with indie games. They use colors really well, in my opinion, and that plays nice with the soundtrack, quite literally. The soundtrack is amazing and it really sets the mood. And last but not least, the dialogue. The dialogue, I think it's fantastic because it's relatable, like I said, and I think it's human. There's something human about the dialogue in these games. I don't know if this makes sense or if this is a stupid comparison, but for example, Life is Strange 2. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the Life is Strange franchise, but the dialogue in Life is Strange 2 just didn't work. Some characters do, but most of them don't, because there's something about it that doesn't feel human, at least to me. Maybe because it's written by older people and they're writing teenagers, maybe, I don't know. But there's something about it that doesn't quite click with me, and I think Deconstrcuteam does a great job with the dialogue, especially in these short projects. Maybe they have experienced certain things, maybe this or that. They put their souls into these very small adventures, but they feel so human, and I think if you follow them on Twitter, you can learn a bit about them. You can ask them, you can talk to them. They have a Discord server, and if you learn a little bit about them, you can see that they put a lot of personal stuff in this small thing. So I think that's, I don't know, just a small detail. If you follow them, if you know them just a little bit about the things they like, about who they are, I think you can spot the personal things, the personal touches that they added to this game. So to conclude, I think that's why this game is interesting. This game is worth talking about. I think that's why their projects are interesting and worth talking about, and that's why I personally recommend them, because they are human, digestible, and interesting stories and experiences, and I think they're great at what they do, and not many developers do this, at least not right like they do, and they have an amazing dream team. The soundtrack is amazing, the visuals are amazing, and the dialogue is amazing. So I think that's why. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to play the game yourself, the download link is in the description down below. Follow them on Twitter. I think their work is interesting and the industry needs more people like them. Check out more of their projects and check out the soundtrack, is amazing. And if for any reason you're the Marina or Paula are watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for making this game and many others. Take care, and I hope you have a wonderful day.